I don't question what Nick Caserio has done and the job that he's done with the rebuild. And I know if you compare what the Texans were when he got here to where they are now, it's great. But let's be honest, they were able to stockpile assets and there was no pressure of winning. When you're the GM of a team and you can go up in front of the fan base and have the support of ownership and say process over results and it makes sense, that's great. It's the right play. And it's the way that it's a great world to live in as long as you have the job security. Where GMs lose their job is when the expectations increase and when winning a championship is really the ultimate goal. And they'll say it's the ultimate goal, but it's the ultimate realistic goal on what you want to see. That's when GMs lose their jobs. It's not when you're able to trade Deshaun Watson because you have no choice and you get all that draft equity. Anyone in this chat could have drafted CJ Stroud. Y'all could have used that extra draft equity and traded for Will Anderson. You could have hired D'Amico Ryans with all the assets. This is where it gets difficult. And that's going to be where we're really going to see what's going on with Caserio. I'm not sitting here saying that Nick Caserio has done a bad job. As I said previously, Nick Caserio has done an awesome job with where they are, but it's been low pressure. Don't get that twisted. It's been low pressure. Just watch the Denver Nuggets force a game 7. And I know this is a cross-sport comparison. Daryl Morey, shout out to Daryl Morey. I know he likes the cross-racial and he likes the cross-sport comparisons. Daryl Morey always said you can't compare the white guy to the white guy. That was one of his rules. And he liked a good cross-sport comparison, but I mean, Denver won a championship a couple of years ago and they just fired their GM this year in season. That pressure kind of increased. That's where Nick Caserio is right now. He hasn't had any pressure. Now you got the coach. You've established yourself. Your floor is higher now. Your floor was very low year 1 with D'Amico. Now your floor is basically, if you don't win the division, then it's a disappointment. That's what it should be. We shouldn't be going back saying, well, look where they were before he got here. Yeah, look where they were. There was little pressure. There was lots of assets. There was the ability to suck while being patient with the process over the results. The right play, by the way. And you have a top 3 pick, so you end up with a Derek Stingley. You have a top 2 pick, so you end up with CJ Stroud. You have extra draft equity, so you're able to trade up for Will Anderson. Y'all could do that. But now's where the pressure starts. He knows this. I'm not breaking any news. This isn't harsh. This is what it is. But this is where the pressure increases on Nick Caserio, and this is where he's going to have to figure stuff out. And the recklessness with contracts is probably going to have to be tweaked a little bit. I just hope a precedent hasn't been set to where every player who comes to Houston knows you're going to be able to get over on Nick Caserio when it comes to negotiating. Neil Hunter could have played the final year of his contract. How much higher was it going to be? If he has the exact same year last year that he has this year, which we'll take, then yeah, I guess that validates it. Maybe he gets more than 1 year. Or you could franchise tag him. You know what the franchise tag is? He's played under the franchise tag. It's the average of the top 5 salaries of the guys at their position. You know why teams use that? It's because you have leverage. So if Daniil Hunter goes out there and has an awesome season this year, you franchise tag him, you're basically paying him the same thing. What you did essentially, and this is the same thing that they did with Dalton Schultz, and I didn't even mention the Dalton Schultz contract. They didn't want to franchise Dalton Schultz. So what did they do? They franchise tagged him twice. Instead of giving him the 1 year at about $11 million or whatever he ended up getting, which was about the number of the franchise tag, they gave him guaranteed. The third year, that's fake. That's fake. So you don't have to worry about like the Dalton Schultz, another year on his contract. That is fake. Very fake.
This is fake. This is fake.
It's a fake?
Yeah, that's Photoshop. That's fake. On my mama, that's fake. On my heart, on my life, my little brother grave, I could die right now, that's fake.
But the first 2 years are fully guaranteed at about that franchise tag price. So you franchise tagged him not once, but twice. How's that looking? It's not great. That's what happens when players get a little bit older sometimes. And I know Danielle Hunter is a way better football player than Dalton Schultz. That's what happens, though. Good football players, all of a sudden at 30, they start. It's hard on the body. It's not great. Franchise tagged him twice. They basically franchise tagged Danielle Hunter before they saw him go out there and play. That doesn't seem like good business to me. It could end up working out, but again, doesn't seem like good business to me. So Nick Caserio is going to have to figure this out. It's a different time. It's a different thing, and we'll see what the heck goes on there. On the super chat,
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Jay Hoover 07 says, watch the Frank Ross video back again. Didn't catch it live. Great show for a great cause and respect. Yeah, it was cool to get to talk to Frank. Shout out to everyone that showed out. We got over $1,000 raised for Frank and his charity. So we appreciate you. Marcus says, Landry, you make me laugh. You the man. Yeah, I mean, I make people laugh. Sometimes it's like, this guy's a dumbass, but hey, it happens. That's what we're here for. But yeah, the contract extension, I think, is interesting. Rolo says Nick is very conservative, so when we do see him give out the bread, it kind of surprises. He gives out the bread like crazy. He gives out more bread than a church during a communion service. That's what's nuts. As soon as he gets it, he tricks it out. He trades for draft picks, and then all of a sudden, he's throwing them out. He's making it rain. Thank God Nick Caserio is a guy who does not. He's not a guy who drinks. He's not a womanizer. I mean, this guy would make a lot of strippers rich. Like if Nick Caserio were not as buttoned up as he was, he would be the economy, the strip club economy in Houston would be booming with Nick Caserio. Because he makes it rain as soon as he gets an extra penny. He makes it rain like crazy. That Nick Caserio. That's what's actually kind of funny about the way that Nick spends this money. He spends it. And he has no hesitation in doing so. But it might really just be during this era of the CJ Stroud, Will Anderson thing. So we'll see what happens, but the pressure is on. It's one thing to be able to function under process over results. But it's different now for Nick. And it's put up or shut up time. He's got to figure it out. And he knows that. And that's something he's going to have to do. But there's a lot of recklessness with the way that Nick Caserio does stuff. There is no doubt about that. Different ball game, though. Different ball game from the process over results to now. That's not the case. So he's going to have to figure it out. And you can screw up the offensive line one time. If this is still a problem 3 years from now, multiple offensive line coaches, I can tell you this. I know D'Amico and Caserio are aligned. But D'Amico's staying power, I think, is longer than Caserio's. I don't think they're leaving at the same time. I think we're looking at if worst case scenario, I'll knock on wood. Worst case scenario, D'Amico stays. He basically becomes the football king, and you hire a GM with D'Amico here. That's just where we're at with Caserio. I'm not betting against him. I'm just saying the game has kind of changed, and the pressure, it's definitely increased for old make it rain Nick Caserio.